The National Electrical Code (NEC) provides guidance on installing electrical fixtures near hot tubs. NEC Section 680.43 addresses lighting fixtures and receptacles. Specifically, 680.43 states that lighting fixtures and receptacles shall not be installed within 3 feet of the inside edge of the hot tub. However, there is an exception: receptacles located more than 3 feet in height from the floor may be installed within 3 feet of the interior wall of the hot tub. NEC Section 680.42, although not specific to hot tubs, covers wall sconces. 680.42b states that wall-mounted luminaires shall not extend more than 4 inches from the wall surface. Based on these code sections, the following interpretations can be made for wall-mounted sconces near hot tubs. Firstly, for sconces mounted more than 3 feet in height from the floor, as long as the sconce does not extend more than 4 inches from the wall surface, it can be installed within 3 feet of the inside edge of the hot tub. Secondly, sconces mounted within 3 feet of the floor cannot be installed within 3 feet of the inside edge of the hot tub. Regardless of height, all sconces must meet the 4-inch protrusion limit from the wall surface. There are additional considerations to keep in mind. Firstly, ensure that the sconce is listed for damp or wet locations. Secondly, use waterproof or water-resistant fixtures and materials. Thirdly, it is advisable to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure a safe and code-compliant installation. To summarize the interpretation for wall sconces near hot tubs, consider these points. For sconces mounted more than 3 feet from the floor, ensure they do not extend more than 4 inches from the wall to be within 3 feet of the hot tub's edge. Sconces closer to the floor, within that 3-foot zone, are prohibited. Remember that regardless of the mounting height, the 4-inch protrusion limit always applies. When installing fixtures, particularly near water, verify that they are rated for damp or wet locations. Using fixtures and materials designed to withstand moisture is crucial for safety. Consulting a qualified electrician is always a good idea. They can ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and is performed safely. In the scenario presented, given the requirements for hot tubs and the intended location of the sconce, it is recommended to install the sconce at least 3 feet in height from the floor and ensure that it protrudes no more than 4 inches from the wall surface. Following these guidelines will help comply with NEC code requirements and provide a safe and functional lighting solution. The primary concern is the distance from the water. The 3-foot rule is critical, particularly for fixtures close to the floor. The height and protrusion rules work in conjunction to provide a safe installation. Selecting appropriate fixtures for the environment is crucial for preventing electrical hazards. Remember that hot tubs create a humid and potentially wet environment, making standard indoor fixtures unsuitable. The National Electrical Code (NEC) is a comprehensive set of standards that govern electrical installations in buildings. It aims to ensure the safety of people and property by providing guidelines for electrical wiring, equipment, and systems. Adherence to the NEC is essential for preventing electrical shocks, fires, and other hazards. The NEC is updated regularly to reflect advancements in technology and address emerging safety concerns. Local jurisdictions often adopt the NEC as the basis for their electrical codes, with or without amendments. Therefore, it is crucial to consult the local electrical code in addition to the NEC to ensure compliance. Section 680 of the NEC specifically addresses electrical installations in and around swimming pools, spas, hot tubs, and similar water features. This section covers various aspects, including wiring methods, grounding, bonding, and the placement of electrical equipment. The requirements in Section 680 are designed to minimize the risk of electrical shock in these potentially hazardous environments. Within Section 680, specific subsections address different types of water features and electrical equipment. For example, 680.26 covers bonding requirements for metal parts of the pool or hot tub structure and associated equipment. 680.42 deals with the installation of lighting fixtures and receptacles near pools and hot tubs. Understanding these specific subsections is essential for ensuring compliance with the NEC. When installing electrical equipment near a hot tub, it is crucial to consider the zone of protection established by the NEC. This zone extends 3 feet horizontally from the inside edge of the hot tub and has different requirements based on the height above the water level. Within this zone, certain types of electrical equipment are prohibited or restricted to minimize the risk of electrical shock. Outside this zone, the requirements are generally less stringent but still require adherence to the NEC. The height of the lighting fixture above the floor is a critical factor in determining whether it can be installed within the 3-foot zone. As mentioned earlier, receptacles located more than 3 feet in height from the floor are permitted within this zone. However, lighting fixtures have more stringent requirements. For example, lighting fixtures installed within 12 feet horizontally from the inside edge of the hot tub and less than 7.5 feet above the water level must be ground fault circuit interrupter (GFCI) protected. GFCI protection is a crucial safety measure that can prevent electrical shock by quickly disconnecting power in the event of a ground fault. In addition to GFCI protection, lighting fixtures installed near hot tubs must also be suitable for wet locations. This means that the fixture must be designed and constructed to prevent water from entering and causing a short circuit or other electrical hazard. Wet location fixtures typically have gaskets, seals, and other features to protect the electrical components from moisture. The NEC also specifies requirements for the wiring methods used to supply power to electrical equipment near hot tubs. Wiring must be installed in conduit or other approved raceway to provide physical protection and prevent damage from moisture or other environmental factors. The conduit must be properly grounded and bonded to ensure electrical safety. In addition to the NEC, local codes and regulations may also apply to electrical installations near hot tubs. These codes may have additional requirements or restrictions that are not covered in the NEC. It is essential to consult with the local building department or electrical inspector to determine the applicable codes and regulations. When planning an electrical installation near a hot tub, it is crucial to create a detailed plan that considers all applicable codes and regulations. This plan should include the location of all electrical equipment, the wiring methods to be used, and the grounding and bonding requirements. The plan should be reviewed and approved by a qualified electrician before any work is started. During the installation process, it is essential to follow the approved plan and adhere to all applicable codes and regulations. All electrical work should be performed by a qualified electrician who is familiar with the NEC and local codes. The electrician should inspect the installation thoroughly to ensure that it is safe and code compliant. Once the installation is complete, it is essential to maintain the electrical equipment properly. This includes regularly inspecting the equipment for damage or deterioration, replacing any damaged parts, and keeping the equipment clean and dry. Proper maintenance can help prevent electrical hazards and ensure the long-term reliability of the installation. In summary, installing electrical equipment near a hot tub requires careful planning and adherence to the NEC and local codes. The 3-foot zone of protection, height restrictions, GFCI protection, wet location requirements, and proper wiring methods are all crucial considerations. Consulting with a qualified electrician and following a detailed plan can help ensure a safe and code-compliant installation. Always prioritize safety when working with electricity, especially near water. The electrical code requirements for fixtures near hot tubs are primarily based on preventing electrical shock hazards. Water is a good conductor of electricity, so the presence of a hot tub increases the risk of electric shock. The code aims to minimize this risk by specifying minimum distances between electrical fixtures and the hot tub, requiring ground fault circuit interrupter (GFCI) protection, and ensuring that fixtures are suitable for wet locations. The 3-foot rule is a fundamental aspect of the code. This rule prohibits the installation of lighting fixtures and receptacles within 3 feet of the inside edge of the hot tub. This distance is intended to provide a buffer zone to prevent accidental contact with electrical equipment while in a hot tub. The exception to the 3-foot rule for receptacles located more than 3 feet in height from the floor is based on the assumption that these receptacles are less likely to be accidentally contacted while in a hot tub. However, it is important to note that this exception only applies to receptacles, not lighting fixtures. The height restriction for receptacles is also intended to prevent the use of cord-connected appliances near the hot tub. Cords can easily become wet or damaged, creating a shock hazard. By requiring receptacles to be located at least 3 feet above the floor, the code discourages the use of cord-connected appliances near the hot tub. The 4-inch protrusion limit for wall-mounted luminaires is intended to prevent these fixtures from extending too far into the 3-foot zone. A luminaire that protrudes more than 4 inches could be easily bumped or contacted while in the hot tub, increasing the risk of electric shock. The requirement for damp or wet location listing ensures that the fixture is designed to withstand the humid environment around the hot tub. Damp or wet location fixtures are constructed with materials and methods that prevent water from entering the fixture and causing a short circuit or corrosion. The recommendation to use waterproof or water-resistant fixtures and materials is a general guideline that applies to all electrical equipment near a hot tub. Waterproof or water-resistant materials are less likely to be damaged by moisture and are therefore safer to use in this environment. Consulting with a qualified electrician is always recommended when installing electrical equipment near a hot tub. An electrician can assess the specific conditions of the installation and ensure that all applicable codes and regulations are followed. An electrician can also provide guidance on selecting the appropriate fixtures and materials and can perform the installation safely and correctly. In addition to the specific requirements for hot tubs, the NEC also includes general requirements for electrical safety that apply to all installations. These requirements include proper grounding and bonding, overcurrent protection, and the use of approved wiring methods. Grounding and bonding are essential for preventing electrical shock by providing a path for fault current to flow back to the source. Overcurrent protection, such as circuit breakers and fuses, protects against overloads and short circuits that can cause fires. Approved wiring methods, such as conduit and cable, provide physical protection for the wiring and prevent damage from moisture or other environmental factors. It is important to note that the NEC is a minimum standard, and local codes may have more stringent requirements. It is always best to check with the local building department or electrical inspector to determine the applicable codes and regulations. When installing electrical equipment near a hot tub, it is important to consider the potential for chemical exposure. Hot tub water typically contains chemicals such as chlorine or bromine to disinfect the water. These chemicals can be corrosive and can damage electrical equipment. Therefore, it is important to select fixtures and materials that are resistant to chemical exposure. Stainless steel and certain types of plastic are commonly used for electrical equipment in hot tub environments. In addition to the electrical code requirements, there may also be building code requirements that apply to the installation of a hot tub. These requirements may include structural requirements, plumbing requirements, and ventilation requirements. It is important to check with the local building department to determine the applicable building code requirements. The installation of a hot tub should be performed by qualified professionals who are familiar with both the electrical code and the building code. This will help ensure that the installation is safe, code-compliant, and functional. Regularly inspect the electrical equipment around the hot tub for any signs of damage or deterioration. Replace any damaged equipment immediately. Keep the area around the hot tub clean and dry to prevent moisture from damaging the electrical equipment. Have the electrical system inspected by a qualified electrician periodically to ensure that it is functioning properly. By following these safety tips, you can help prevent electrical hazards and ensure the safe operation of your hot tub. The specific scenario involves installing a wall sconce near an indoor hot tub, approximately 3 feet from the inside edge of the tub. The primary concern is whether this installation complies with the NEC requirements for lighting fixtures near hot tubs. Based on the NEC, lighting fixtures are generally not permitted within 3 feet of the inside edge of the hot tub. However, there are exceptions for receptacles located more than 3 feet in height from the floor. In the case of a wall sconce, the height of the sconce above the floor is a critical factor. If the sconce is mounted more than 3 feet in height from the floor, it may be permitted within 3 feet of the hot tub, provided that it does not extend more than 4 inches from the wall surface. If the sconce is mounted within 3 feet of the floor, it is generally not permitted within 3 feet of the hot tub. Regardless of the height, the sconce must meet the 4-inch protrusion limit. In addition to the distance and height requirements, the sconce must also be suitable for damp or wet locations. This means that the sconce must be designed and constructed to prevent water from entering and causing a short circuit or other electrical hazard. It is recommended to use waterproof or water-resistant fixtures and materials to further enhance safety. Given the specific requirements for hot tubs and the proximity of the sconce to the tub, it is recommended to install the sconce at least 3 feet in height from the floor and ensure that it protrudes no more than 4 inches from the wall surface. This will comply with the NEC code requirements and provide a safe and functional lighting solution. However, it is always best to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and regulations. An electrician can assess the specific conditions of the installation and provide guidance on selecting the appropriate fixtures and materials. The electrician can also perform the installation safely and correctly. In summary, the installation of a wall sconce near an indoor hot tub requires careful consideration of the NEC requirements for lighting fixtures near hot tubs. The height of the sconce above the floor, the distance from the hot tub, the protrusion from the wall surface, and the suitability for damp or wet locations are all important factors. Consulting with a qualified electrician is always recommended to ensure a safe and code-compliant installation. Always prioritize safety when working with electricity, especially near water.